Looking at the food that's in the grocery store, they say it's safe, everybody eat more. On second thought, I don't really know if it's made with those GMOs. So I'm looking for the non-GMO label. Before I bring it home, I'll put it on the table. I wanna know if it's verified, so I don't harm myself with genetically modified.
Videos like this one are littered all over the internet. But do they really have any factual basis to them, or are they just scare tactics? First, let's try and figure out what GMOs actually are.
Genetically modified organism is simply an organism like any other organism that produces tens of thousands of proteins, but one or two of them were proteins that were chosen specifically by us humans. Genetic engineering is necessary for the continued success of the human experiment here on planet Earth. Just like the advent of nitrogen fixing allowed for more fertile fields that saved millions from starvation, the fruits of genetic engineering, sometimes literally, will help us face the significant challenges of a world with more and more people and a climate that is less and less stable. Of course, just like nitrogen fixing allowed Germany to build bigger bombs, genetic engineering is a tool that can be used for good or for evil.
Probably the reason I hate GMOs as much as I do is because of Monsanto.
Biochemical engineering firm Monsanto has been under scrutiny by the farming community because of their patents, which allow them to sue farmers who replant seeds in future seasons following the one in which they purchased the seeds and received a license. Issues have arisen in which farmers have planted crops not engineered by Monsanto in fields adjacent to other farmers who use Monsanto seeds, and cross-pollination has led to Monsanto threatening the organic farmers over their inadvertent use of the patented genes. This issue has been brought to the courts on several occasions, most recently in a case Bowman v. Monsanto and Organic Seed Growers and Trade Association v. Monsanto. In the case of Bowman, the plaintiff was sold seeds at a farmer's market by farmers who had purchased them in the year prior from Monsanto. When Monsanto discovered this, they sued Bowman. Bowman launched an appeals case, stating that the patents would have exhausted within the first generation of the crops sold by Monsanto. The court found that Monsanto's patent did not expire with the first generation, and Bowman lost the case in a unanimous decision in favor of Monsanto. Another case, OSGTA v. Monsanto, aimed to protect farmers from being sued in the event of cross-pollination with Monsanto crops. The court sided in favor of Monsanto on the condition that the biochemical engineering firm promised not to sue anyone for this reason. Monsanto agreed, yet farmers still feel as though there has been some injustice. A major negative effect on small-scale and family farms has been the resistance of Monsanto's crops. Similar to bacterial superbugs that are resistant to antibiotics, many pests are becoming resistant to Monsanto's crops and pesticides. Because of this, all farmers will have to increase their use of traditional pesticides. This costs a considerable amount of money and also makes food less safe because of toxins in pesticides. Monsanto initially engineered their crops to be resistant to the pesticide and weed killer Roundup, created by Monsanto themselves.
And then being a little farmer, having a plant that you can grow more of because it has GMOs and you don't have to worry about the cost of pesticides because of the seeds themselves. Like, I say that's fair, but it's all the legal stuff behind it which is unfair towards the small farmer.
While many farmers are struggling with resistant weeds, others who work firsthand with the crops will only buy and produce genetically modified seeds. As stated by a supporter, one farmer believes those who oppose GM crops are those who don't work closely with them, claiming it is a different perspective when you're with them in the fields all day. Today, more than 14 million farmers in 25 countries produce genetically modified crops, an 80-fold increase since 1996 when genetically modified seeds were first commercialized. As compared to conventional methods, one farmer claims that genetically modified foods are easier and safer because farmers don't have to spray them as frequently with herbicide and insecticide. Claiming his genetically modified crops produce a higher yield, another farmer's assessment coincides with the goal of the crops, which is to improve farming productivity by crop damage attributable to pests, drought, poor soil, and crop viruses, bacteria, or fungi. With the population expected to skyrocket and reach 9.1 billion by 2050, malnutrition and hunger have come to the forefront of global issues. The technology that is now at our fingertips and the research that is being developed and finalized gives us the information to produce the rising amount of food that will be needed. The greatest example of a genetically modified crop solving this issue is golden rice. Containing beta-carotene, It is predicted to prevent the vitamin A deficiency that blinds and kills children in underdeveloped nations. Genetically modified crops are hypothesized to help solve this issue by many, but others hold on to the belief that organic farming is still our best bet at solving this crisis. Those against GMOs contend that neither intrinsic nor operational yield is increased to a significant extent, while conventional methods with herbicides produce the same amount of food.
Researchers believe they have found a way to add critical nutrients to rice, a dietary staple in countries like the Philippines. But those changes tap directly into concerns over genetically modified food.
As previously mentioned, GMOs can help to make food more accessible in poor regions of the world like Africa, India, and China, or areas that are highly inaccessible due to poor infrastructure. For example, look at Adrian Dubach from the aforementioned Golden Rice Project and his mission to help children with vitamin A deficiencies. However, other countries around the world have implemented much stricter regulations on GM foods. Pretty much all of Europe, China, and Japan have laws requiring the labeling of GM foods, making it harder for organizations like the Golden Rice Project to accomplish their goals. Even stricter, European countries have taken their war on GMOs to the extreme. In fact, in October of 2015, 17 countries in the European Union completely banned the cultivation of GM foods. While it's not to say GM foods could potentially pose dangerous health effects for consumers, no significant scientific research has definitively associated GM foods to foodborne illnesses, allergies, or other health issues that have been claimed to exist. However, there are videos all over the internet that claim all different types of health risks. To show his disappointment, Dubach asks, "Do you give the same scientific weight to evolution and creationism?" What he means is that though there is a myriad of scientific evidence pointing towards evolution, people's preconceived beliefs prevent them from accepting scientific fact. In the case of GM foods, people make claims about its health risks without substantial scientific proof to back it up. It seems to be less about the science and more about people wanting to understand what is in their food.
The wizards in genetics are kind enough to propose a lot of reasons why I should believe in GMOs. It's not that I don't trust them, and I don't mean to be rude, but I still want the list of ingredients that they're putting in my food.
The labeling of genetically modified foods has been hotly contested over the past couple years, with the public seemingly split on the issue. Currently, the non-GMO label you might see on most products is not actually a government-certified label like the Department of Agriculture's USDA organic label, but rather a certification given by a nonprofit known as the Non-GMO Project. The project claims to have certified over 24,000 products. For scale, an average supermarket tends to have 40 to 50,000 products. The total sales of non-GMO certified products has tripled over the last year to an estimated $8.5 billion. However, this high number does not necessarily represent any sort of scientific breakthrough about the safety of GMOs, but rather a breakthrough about public perception. The CEO of Popcorn Indiana said, "We've put it on our labels because it was something that our customers wanted to know." And it's not just small companies like Popcorn Indiana that want to appeal to their customer base. Companies like Chipotle are acknowledging that, even though there's no scientific proof about the long-term danger of GMOs, they are still choosing to remove GMOs from their products to appeal to their customers and their peace of mind. In addition to removing GMOs from their products, some of Chipotle's media campaigns portray a somewhat inaccurate representation of what genetically modified foods are. Portrayals like these may have led to some of the public's unwarranted fears about what GMOs are and how they are created. In a similar vein, some European countries have outright banned genetically modified foods for rather shaky reasons. A spokeswoman for Nicola Sturgeon, the leader of the Scottish National Party, admitted that the First Minister's scientific advisor had not been consulted because the decision wasn't based on scientific evidence. Instead, the priority was to protect the clean, green image of the country's produce. At the end of the day, what the issue about GMO labeling and even the banning of genetically modified food comes down to is not science, but rather the public perception and their willingness to purchase and eat genetically modified foods.
It's time to educate, here to communicate. Yes, it's our health at stake. My friends, don't be blinded. Oh no. They're taking over the land. It's time we make our stand. It's time you know about companies like Monsanto. Oh no, oh no. Polluting with chemical spray, poisoning waters day after day. Kamehameha school said they could stay because they pay our way, our way. Now look at the long-term effect when it's the land you neglect. The Ahupua's been a wreck and you're looking for your paycheck. Where's the respect? Where's the respect?